Sean, it's a terrific question. What is happening with these children is heartbreaking, and the president is right that it's a humanitarian crisis, but it is a crisis of his own creation. This is the direct consequence of President Obama's lawlessness. A couple of weeks ago, I was down in Lackland Air Force Base visiting a facility where there are roughly 1,200 kids being housed, and we are seeing little boys and little girls coming across the border alone with hardened criminals because of the president's lawlessness. Here's some basic facts which our friends in the mainstream media won't share with you. In 2011, just 3 years ago, there were roughly 6,000 unaccompanied children caught trying to cross the border. Then in 2012, just a few months before the election, the president unilaterally and lawlessly granted amnesty to some 800,000 people who were here illegally who would come as children. As a direct result, we saw the numbers skyrocket. So this year, there are expected to be 90,000 unaccompanied children apprehended. That's up from 6,000 just 3 years ago. Next year, they're expected to be roughly 150,000. And all of this is because President Obama has openly, brazenly refused to enforce the law.
Well, explain how he broke the law. Explain a little bit more specifically.
Well, he did two things. Number one, he just unilaterally decreed that some 800,000 people who are here illegally would not be subject to our immigration laws, but instead would be granted what the particular order is called DACA, and is essentially a executive forgiveness. And there's no authority in the law to do that. And what's happened, it's interesting. A few weeks ago, we had a hearing in the Senate Judiciary Committee, and we received a report from the Border Patrol, from a whistleblower, where they interviewed over 200 people who'd come here illegally, a lot of them children, and asked them, why are you coming? 95% of them said they were coming because they heard if they get here, they get a permiso, they get a free permit to stay in this country, and they're coming because they believe the president has promised them amnesty.
So the president unilaterally, because he couldn't get his DREAM Act passed, he couldn't get his immigration bill passed. So the president, we knew from past times that he just decided unilaterally not to enforce the immigration laws that we currently have on the books.
That's right.
So that has now put them in a position where they can now stay, or feel that they can stay until
they can now stay. I'll tell you, you talk to Border Patrol officers, they're being prevented by their political leadership from enforcing the law. They're being told, don't follow the immigration laws. And, Sean, probably the most heartbreaking aspect of this is you look at this year, some 90,000 little boys and little girls coming in illegally. Look, the people bringing them in, they're not well-meaning social workers. These are hardened transnational global criminal cartels. They are cruel, vicious men. These little boys and little girls are being subjected to physical violence, to sexual violence. When I was at Lackland Air Force Base, a senior official there told me about a number of the children who have come in where the drug cartels, when they get these kids, some of them they hold for ransom to try to extract more money from the families. And horrifically, Sean, they will cut off and send back body parts. They'll force one little boy or one little girl to cut off the fingers or ears of other little boys or little girls. They'll put a gun to their head. They'll say, either you cut off this little boy's finger or we'll shoot you. And the senior government official at Lackland was saying they're dealing with children who've been maimed by these criminals and other children who have enormous psychological trauma from being forced at risk of murder to carry out these atrocities. This is heartbreaking, and it's the direct result of President Obama's lawlessness.
Why are we not doing what is simple and commonsensical to me? Why aren't we just sending the people back?
Well, we should be, and the president has not. We should be working to reunite these children with their families, and these children will not stop coming and not stop being subjected to this horrific physical violence and sexual violence unless and until this administration begins enforcing our laws. As long as people believe they get amnesty, they get freedom, they get a permiso, they will keep coming, and that is the opposite of a humane policy. The president is right that it's a humanitarian crisis.